Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be an entrepreneur? Or are you an entrepreneur? Have you started a business of your own and trotted out there, taking a risk with some of your ideas and putting it out there in front of people? I have to admit that I've actually been an entrepreneur. Um, when my children were really small, I have my two youngest children are 19 months apart, and they were both in diapers. So I spent some time at home with them and confessed that I got a little bored at times. So I started making birdhouses and had a really great time learning, practicing my trade, and selling them in craft shops. And no, I can't say that I made a whole lot of money, but it was fun and it kept me busy. And one of the things that happened with that is that that particular endeavor led me to some other endeavors, and I ended up opening my own web design business. I started doing some things for free for a local chamber of commerce when I lived in another part of the state, and learned a lot about web design sort of on the fly, taught myself, worked with a partner doing some volunteer work on a website, and then I launched my own business, and I had that business for a number of years. Again, I probably didn't make a ton of money, but it wasn't one of those things that I guess, had I needed to make a lot of money, I know I would have been able to wander out there and really market myself well. I do have a master's degree in marketing, and it is an area that I'm certainly interested in. I've worked for entrepreneurs before. I worked for a company that did HVAC work. I ran their office while I was in undergrad school, and that was a lot of fun, and I certainly learned a lot about this married couple and how they partnered to run this business. I certainly admired them and probably started my great admiration for entrepreneurs. I'll give you another personal note is that when I worked on my dissertation, um, I looked at a specific kind of learning that entrepreneurs engage in when they're just starting out. And I interviewed 9 women entrepreneurs all around the state of Virginia, and asked them all kinds of questions about how they engaged in learning and where they got information. And I wrote my dissertation based on those interviews. It was really a labor of love. I just really enjoyed getting to know those women and learning about the struggles and the victories that they had encountered along the way. If you think about what it takes to be an entrepreneur, obviously there's some risk taking. One has to have an idea, a vision about where one wants to go. Now, people go into business for a variety of reasons. Obviously, a lot of people want to be their own boss. They might get tired of the corporate grind or answering to other people, and they may decide that they have an idea that is viable and that they can afford to kick off. A number of entrepreneurs start their entrepreneurial endeavors at night and on the weekend, so they maintain a full-time job and then try to get their business going. A lot of people can't afford to quit their jobs and just step out in, say, faith and hope that they are making money quickly enough to keep paying that same old mortgage they've been paying. I will tell you, one of the ladies I interviewed, she said if she was going to give advice to another entrepreneur, she would say, everything takes longer than you think it's going to take, especially the making money part, where you're actually making the money that you have a goal in mind. So that it just always takes a little longer. Like finding the first client, getting the second client, things like that, they always takes a little bit longer than you might project. Again, there's some risk involved, as well as there's an awful lot of persistence, hard work, things that we hear about a lot in our culture. So the entrepreneurial spirit certainly is part of the American dream and the American culture, because if you want to start a business, it's pretty easy to do so. To legally form a business and to get set up is really not that difficult at all. You just have to have the willingness to take the risk and be able to live on maybe some less significant means for a while. Now, if you want to get money to finance your business, you have a couple of options. Obviously, you can finance your business off of your own savings, and some people do that. You might actually use your credit card for a while. You can use your credit card to pay for all your office supplies, your mailing. If you are in the business where you have to print things to market to people, you can do that on credit as well and use your credit card. So people actually start some pretty significant businesses by starting off with their credit card and just charging up to their limit and paying it off as they can. You could go to family and friends and ask them for help to loan you money. That's certainly an option. You can go to a venture capitalist if you really have an idea that's ready to roll, and you might be that you've already tried and gotten yourself sort of your feet wet and your ankle deep in it, and it's obvious that your business is going to take off, but the only way it'll take off is if you have this higher infusion of money. You might go see someone who is in the business of investing in small business, a venture capitalist, an angel investor. Those are the kinds of people you might want to see. Another route is to go to the Small Businesses Administration. They have loans for small businesses, and of course that's a government-run entity, but it's certainly another resource for financing your business. So again, there are certain characteristics of an entrepreneur, and there are certain ways to finance your business. You can be pretty creative that way. I like the credit card one. I'll close with this story. About 7 or 8 years ago, a woman, I think she was of Iranian descent, she was a first generation, having moved to America with her parents. She created a telecom company, and 7 or 8 years ago she sold her business, and it was from selling that business she was able to pay to like $1 million to fly on a Russian flight into space. And that's how she got her attention, and after she'd sold her business. But the part that they told about this woman in advance of her earning this and making her business into a $1 billion business, I think that's what she and her husband sold it for, they actually financed the startup of their company on their credit cards. They had charged $30,000, $40,000 on credit cards, and turned it into a $1 billion business. And how's that for the American dream?